Yeah, that's the problem. Too much money for too few people. How about we stop talking about it and take action? Araknie here brings you a Game Boy RPG in the form of great greed. Oh, the title doesn't lie. The story lays it on pretty thick. Basically, you and your dad are on a mountain trip, a bit for pleasure and also because your father's job is to control the health of rivers. But then you get transported into an alternative world because it's been infested by somebody from your reality. Apparently only humans from your dimension can defeat each other and you just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You wanna go back? Then do your job and kill! I'm making it overly simplistic, but there's more reasons than that really. This guy is taking all the trash from our world into this newly discovered one to solve our pollution problem. These folks aren't used to it, and it's immediately deadly to them. They haven't had centuries to build up a resistance to it. Yeah, and he's calling himself a biohazard. This genocidal little asshole isn't taking the subtle approach. The dialogue is quite funny and modern, and tries to play it off quite nicely. It has that style of deadpan humor with a lot of jokes that the other characters ignore, so they catch the player off guard. I'll let you discover the rest, we got plenty else to discuss. Like the gameplay, because we got a turn-based RPG here that does something much different, especially for 1992. But even today I haven't seen much like it. First of all, it has a bit of a hidden active time battle system similar to Final Fantasy IV, meaning that you have turns but you have to attack if you don't want to just get it while you wait around. But then they had a genius idea, one of many you'll see. They thought to assign directly each action on a button so you don't need to use any type of command menu during battle scenes. With the A button you do a normal attack and with B you try and dodge the next incoming one. Select or start is used to escape from battles. I don't know why this changes depending on the region of your cartridge. And outside of battle you assign 4 magic spells that you can change out anytime without any penalty to the D-pad. So during battle just press a direction to summon a spell and it's gonna be immediately cast. This makes it so the battles are fast, even if they last longer like in boss fight cases. It just means that everything happens immediately, so you get to see constant action on the screen. It's the most fast-paced turn-based RPG I have ever played, that's for sure. I honestly love battling in great greed. If you get distracted a bit, it might get tense and you'll be dead in no time at all. But here comes to the rescue the first of a series of design decisions that are not only inspired but also perfectly understand that they were making a Game Boy title. If you die, no worries, the game autosaves after each battle. Not only that, it gives you 3 manual saves to use and interchange with them at all times, and yes, you can save whenever you want. Not a single place on the map where you can't reload from. When you're on a train with this game you never know when you need to put it down, and like this you can at any time. The other great feature is that you'll be almost always paired with an ally, and while you battle alone, they will always remind you of your next objective if you prompt them. It's perfectly pick up and play without giving you the chance to forget what you're supposed to do. Plus, they have very neatly sized dungeons in here. The longest ones, aside from the final location, will take you around 30 minutes. Once again, this was Namco main dev team game, showing everybody else how to make an RPG on a Game Boy and respecting perfectly how you are supposed to engage with that portable machine. And those places have always some neat and new idea to them. It might be an original objective or some interesting puzzle, but they always try to surprise you. My biggest problem with it is that it's maybe even too simple. It never really evolves its gameplay from the beginning, and by the end of it you don't wanna see more of it. That really forebodes it from entering a bigger pantheon. After the first 2 hours, you'll have basically seen what the battles will be like for the entire game. It doesn't introduce anything new, or ask anything new of you. There's a lot of spells in this title, but once you have obtained Power, Guard and Drain plus a healing one, you're gonna be set for the remainder of it. So I'm glad it's a short game. It seriously saves it from becoming something that instead I might have hated. and I took my time and explored, taking me in total just 12 hours. But that's because it was my first time playing. I've seen experts at this game since go through it and then take just 7 or 8. Graphics are nothing too special, but they did a lot for a game with just 256 kilobytes of cartridge space. All battles are very detailed because they took great care to give them a very close perspective. You see even the back of your character and you clash at the same time of your opponent every time you attack. So you get a bit more dynamism that you might expect from such an early Game Boy entry. Backgrounds reuse a lot of assets, but since every place is not very long, it doesn't get boring or confusing where you have to go ever, really. I would love portraits, but at least they put a name on every time somebody's talking. That wasn't 100 guaranteed until the PS2, so I'll take this entire presentation style compared to even some PS1 games if I'm gonna be honest. Musically was a bit half and half instead for me. For having such an original and outrageous plot, it tries a little too hard to have medieval fantasy themes. While it was at its best when it was making you hear some weirder original vibes, or modern adjacent sounding music. That's why I didn't feel always like it was fitting for what they were doing here. The dialogue being in such modern speak clashes with the Dragon Quest sounding castle theme. But as previously, the short length of it helps it not to get grating on the ears. Or boring. You might think they overshoot their naming, but Great Greed deserves for certain an 8 out of 10. That name doesn't lie. Honestly, for a game that I didn't know anything about until I played this, turned out quite well indeed. If you wanna see me play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see? Until next time, ciao ciao!